Spy a Reanimate in hand.
Two
And an
faith,
Archon.
two Faithless Lootings, Lotus Petal, Traxa. He doesn't have a he doesn't have a land, I don't think.
I thought that was an Archon, but yeah, it's
So
an Atraxa.
yeah, he doesn't have a land.
I like the Faithless Looting though.
I don't. If you need your Faithless Looting to draw you a land, we should probably just mulligan.
You got 2 looting though.
But you have 1 Lotus Petal. That's your only mana source. I like mulliganing.
I thought there was 2 Lotus Petals.
I like mulliganing this hand. There's 1 Lotus Petal, 2 Faithless Lootings, 2 Reanimate, and a Traxa.
Okay.
And an Arcana of Cruelty.
And an Archon. So I did see the Archon. Okay.
Yes. Arcana Traxa, double Reanimate, double Faithless Looting, Lotus Petal.
Man, 1 land, right? 1 land in this hand is a snap key.
Or we could just mulligan. Our deck is very, very good at mulliganing.
He's keeping it.
Cradle Rock, doing the Cradle Rock thing. Verdant Catacombs Forest, Elvish Reclaimer. Here's a Grief.
We can evoke the Grief and then reanimate it.
We're going to start with a Faithless Looting, no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess you don't have to evoke it if you can just pitch it and reanimate it. It's
If we have the option to reanimate something, we're going to reanimate Atraxa. Probably Arkan here, actually. He did not find a land. Is immediately punished by not finding the land. I like mulliganing this hand here.
Yeah, without the land, it's sort of rough, isn't it?
Play draw, not much of a consideration here. I just like mulliganing this hand. Yeah. I understand there's a really solid explosive potential, but now we probably just don't get to play a game of Magic for the next several turns. Feels bad.
Yeah, not having that really sucks, but it was a choice, right? It's not like his deck is punishing him right now. He knew it was in his hand. So do we evoke the Grief?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason to not evoke the Grief.
I don't know. I guess, yeah, we get to take some amount of resources. It looks like it was just another Elvish Reclaimer, or is that 2 Reclaimers?
It's a Fiend Artisan and an Elvish Reclaimer.
Okay, we're seeing the black portion of this deck, right? Probably take the Fiend Artisan, yeah. If you take the Reclaimer, the Fiend Artisan gets huge next turn. Or it's a 2/2 at least. Not huge, but it has the potential to get bigger. So Reclaimer, Cradle. Yeah. Just developing board there. Now we got a land.
Yep, we got a land, so
reanimate.
Looks like we'll get to reanimate this Arcana of Cruelty. So here's we're going to instant speed bog you.
You'll love to see it.
I do love to see it.
Yeah, using this card as a combat trick, or like any I say combat trick, but I've used it as a combat trick before, where you can pump it at instant speed. But yeah, using it as any kind of trick where you have utility lands, especially bog, that's probably going to be game. Like he does have the Faithless Looting in hand, but he doesn't have a red source. Just drawing that swamp off the top was like pretty lucky.
Yep.
Yeah, this is you had mentioned to me, this is Tim's sort of like bread and butter, right?
Yeah, this is Tim Wilson. He plays green black decks. That's what he does. If you hand him a green black deck, he's going to be like 10 times more likely to do well with it than basically anybody else that you can hand it to. He's a green black savant.
Mm. What do we lay down there? Another Reclaimer, and what's that middle card?
Yeah.
Is that Iggy?
Chris, wait until you see what his deck does in game. I think it's in game 3. It is nasty.
Is it?
Yes. Chris just commented in the chat. Tim's deck is spicy.
Yeah. What's up, bud?
That's
Iggy's, yeah.
Just wait. The deck is indeed very spicy.
So now these reclaimers are big now, right? These are 3/4s now. He has 3 lands, at least 3 lands in graveyard. Looks like he's gonna start hammering in, or at least he could. I don't know if he needs to hold up any amount of mana for Bog, but man, like there's no setup on Chris's side, so I don't know if he needs to hold up anything on these reclaimers. He can just start swinging it for 6 a turn. Oh, there's a wrist.
I believe he only has 1 copy of Bojuka Bog anyway. So
oh, does he? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. A Retrofitter Foundry going to hit the ban.
Oh my god, this is a spicy deck. Wow.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
And we got the bug. Gonna take up
Retrofitter Foundry in here because Urza Saga.
Yeah, that's a hot include.
Yeah, we're gonna scoop him up and go to game 2 here.
Yeah, I don't think that was. Once he exiled the graveyard with the bog, that was game over. Probably a loose keep, like you had said. Yeah, this is sort of where it comes down to like having, and I don't know what kind of experience Chris has with the deck. Like obviously, probably more than me. I played my fair share of Dredge and Reanimator decks, but you got to be able to cast. You know, you look at that nut hand, and you go, oh, if I just Faithless Looting into my second land, like I'm off to the races. And
yeah, and some percentage of the time that's going to happen, and everything's going to be hunky dory.
Mm.
But you know, when your tournament life is pretty dependent upon it, and your mulligan, your deck mulligan's great. Reanimator mulligans really, really well.
It has it's sort of that it's the term you use all the time to describe these decks where they like just want to have like a certain mass of
critical mass
deck where it's just like it wants X number of tools, and once it has those tools at its disposal, it will kill your opponent. Like that's it.
Yep.
And it's very hard for your opponent to come back when you've resolved an Atraxa or a Grizzlebrand or Archon of Cruelty, because those cards just eat the game alive.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's easy to mulligan because all you need is those 3 tools, right?
A plus B, basically.
Yeah. And then when I say 3 tools, I mean land is one of those tools. A land to cast your spells.
Right.
And like that's what your opening hand.
We don't necessarily include that when we're talking about critical mass. That's just something that's a requirement of playing Magic: The Gathering.
Tell Chris that. Opening Magic: The Gathering, a Deckmaster game by Richard Garfield. Yeah, is that that's not a rest in peace, right?
I believe he was looking at one of his teammates sideboarding.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, good. This is a team event. We get to help our teammates. We love to give them a hand. We saw a lot of really good levels of team play, where players were giving each other advice, but then also like knowing when to push back when it was their level of expertise.
Sure.
Which
I am not a very good team player.
I know. You're talking to your co-host right now, telling me you're not a good team player.
I am not a good team player.
Oh my gosh.
Will openly and unabashedly admit it.
Yeah, well, I think people need to understand that you're very confident in your opinions too. Yeah, I'm much less definitive in my belief structures. I think you've played way more Magic than I have, especially comp Ariel. So I would pick you to be on my team, but then I'm also one of the few people that sort of pushes back on you effectively.
Yes, that is very true. No really other eloquent way to put that.
Yeah. So we got a Magus in there. We got a Archon of Cruelty, Reanimate. Is that a Dark Ritual?
That's a snuff out.
No, there's a Rebecca Gay Dark Ritual in there too.
Oh, okay.
Mercadian Mask, Rebecca, my personal favorite Dark Ritual
With the clouds, the poofy. Oh, I see it.
with the three witches standing around the eye.
Yep.
And he's got a Badlands Swamp. Yeah, that's actually a dope opening hand. I would keep that all day.
Yes, Chris. Tim is the Nick Fit companion.
Is he shuffling that away?
I don't like keeping that hand.
Why?
You're missing several critical.
Oh, there was
missing
no.
several critical pieces of Reanimator.
He didn't have a Faithless Looting. That's right. Yeah, Faithless Looting is sort of critical. Turn one looting is sort of that sucks. That's sort of, but like good on him for pitching it right.
Well, I think that kind of hand is a lot easier to mulligan away than his hand from game one.
Yeah.
So
the high roll potential.
That hand didn't actually do anything.
Yeah, he was sort of relying on his deck to
he gets to Faithless Looting on turn one, and in doing so will expose his graveyard to whatever Tim wants to do. And there's no guarantee that he draws a second land so he can Dark Ritual in the Magus on turn two. So
he had two lands.
That hand is pretty easy to mulligan away.
He could have turned one to Magus on that. No, he wouldn't have.
No, he could not have.
That's right. Yeah, he had two lands. He had a swamp and a Badlands, I believe. So we've got an Atraxa. We're pitching again, going to 5.
That was another easy mulligan. He didn't have.
I didn't see what was in it.
He didn't have a way to reanimate or a way to put it into the graveyard.
Yeah.
So Tim's gonna keep 6 here.
With Atraxa, there are definitely more good payloads. Have we stopped running the Chancellor of the Annex now?
They're not playing Chancellor of Annex.
We're just going all in. There's no longer any kind of protection level.
I believe they have them in their sideboard. Not 100% sure on that, but I believe they are playing the Chancellors in the board.
Okay. Just against the counter magic then. I know they're playing like Fairy Macabres.
That's like a mirror tool. You can also use it in other matchups as well. Yeah.
I'm so used to, a couple of years ago, this deck ran, a full play set of Chancellor of the Annex to shore up any kind of counter magic in the first 2 turns.
It's also just like a really good thing to reanimate, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is actually a very good body.
Atraxa, much better.
Correct. I don't know that there's much of an argument there. Atraxa as a body is just so good. Like, it has keyword soup on it. It has flying, vigilance, death touch, and lifelink.
Yep.
And it's a 7/7.
Yep.
So it has the ability to defend you in a way that is way better than Grizzlebrand.
So I like this hand a lot, actually.
Okay, so this is a 5.
Yep. And this is kind of
I need to see it.
This is kind of what I was saying in that this deck mulligans really, really well.
So that's a.
It's 2 lands, Entomb, Animate, Dead, Reanimate.
Oh yeah, that's a nuts hand. Entomb is insane.
Right. So this is a turn 2 Atraxa or Arcan or whatever. Here's a thought.
We get to do whatever we want.
Here's a Thoughtseize. So this Thoughtseize not actually going to do anything here. He'll get to Entomb right now, and then Tim can take either the Reanimate or the Animate Dead, and he will still have the other one for his second turn.
What did he put in there? Atraxa?
This is just the Entomb. He has not been to creature yet. He did put Atraxa into his graveyard.
Okay. Technically, Entomb should be on top of it. Entomb still resolving before Atraxa goes to the bin, or after Atraxa goes to the bin.
Yeah. Being as that's not a creature, I don't know that it matters a bunch.
Yeah, I don't know that there's any.
If it was what is that card called? I can't ever remember what it's called. Put the top creature of your graveyard into play.
Oh, Shallow Grave.
Shallow Grave, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them actually.
Shallow Grave was the one that I was thinking of. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I would play a Shallow Grave before I played an Exhume. Exhume?
Yeah.
Exhume, bad magic card.
Unless you're in Pauper. if you're playing Pauper Reanimator, go off King. But otherwise, yeah, don't play that card. I have played it in Singleton, but that's because you just are limited in what you have available to you. Sometimes you play the bad ones too. Now Tim's sort of in a rough spot, right? He doesn't play a lot of exile removal or counter magic.
I mean, he takes the reanimate here. Mm-hmm. So that will leave Chris with an animate dead, which can be destroyed by a reclamation sage.
Right. But he is also going to get a bunch of new cards in hand.
That was going to happen one way or the other.
Correct.
So at least he's got an out here.
This card is bonkers. So there's an Exhume, like you said. Probably not going to take it.
Atraxa just does crazy things. We probably take a Faithless Looting as our sorcery here.
I hope so. Because he's getting an animate dead.
Right, which is why we take the Faithless Looting.
Yeah. If now it becomes way worse to hit.
Interesting. He takes Exhume. I guess he can evoke the Grief and then Exhume it next turn.
Oh yeah, that is true. If he destroys the animate dead on Atraxa, he gets to animate dead it again.
Right.
And yeah, it's rough.
Now he has an Exhume for the Grief.
I thought he pitched the Exhume for the Grief. So now you're seeing.
Oh, that's why he took. Why he took the Exhume. Okay, that makes sense.
Is this your favorite mode of Exhume? Exiling it for Grief.
You can do that with Shallow Grave too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Shallow Grave is 3 mana, right? Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of letting my opponent have a creature though.
Shallow Grave is... Oh no, it's 2.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Or Dance of the Dead, because Dance of the Dead has that sweet art.
Yeah, Dance of the Dead does have that sick art. It does cost mana to untap your creature.
That's fine.
But yeah, you're drawing so many cards off of Atraxa when you get it anyway. It's like, and it makes it bigger too. It makes the body on the creature you're in.
Yeah, it gives it +1/+1.
It's dope.
There's a Reanimate for Grief.
Yeah, gonna lose 4. Doesn't matter.
So that's going to take a Fiend Artisan.
Yeah, sort of limiting options. Do you have two? Is that 2 Iggies?
It is 2 Ignoble Hierarchs. Yes.
Yeah. Not elves, but honorary elves.
They're a goblin, right?
Yeah, they are. Goblin Shaman. They're one of the few new Alara cards we've seen in a long time. There's Shallow Grave. Yeah, card's insane.
Gives it haste too.
Yeah, Good Help is hard to dig up. It does go away at the end of turn.
I love the flavor text.
Yeah.
Good Help is hard to dig up.
You know what's great with this card? Sacrifice or Burnt Offering.
That's funny. Right, yeah.
I'm a Tin Fins player too, so.
Just make a bunch of mana. Here's a Green Sun Zenith for 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, X is 1, 2, yeah. What's he getting? Probably Rex Sage.
No, he can get Grist. And just destroy the Atraxa.
Sack Grist is that worth it? Like,
yeah, totally, because you get to keep the Grist.
Does he have I thought he has another animate dead in hand. Yeah. He's gonna sack one of his Iggies. It doesn't get to keep the Grist, actually. That Grief has Menace.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's it's a little rough. People always forget that they gave those evoke elementals keywords that are relevant, and he's just gonna get a bunch of new cards. Woof. More Griefs. I don't think Chris is really low on life total here either, right? Like he's only taken 4 from the reanimate on the grief.
Chris is at 13, I believe.
13.
Yep.
Okay.
So he took 4 from the reanimate on grief, and then he has fetched 3 times. So 13.
Oh, okay.
13, I believe. Here's an entomb.
Yeah. This is sort of lights out.
Yep.
He's gonna be able to get Archon.
I don't really think that there is a way for Tim to come back into this.
Yeah. I agree.
But
once the cat has left the bag, so to speak.
He does have endurance. I'm not sure if it's a 4 of, but you are correct. The Atraxa was already in play, so we just needed to get the Atraxa out of the way.
Yeah, and we're gonna see a 6-point life swing with the Archon.
It was mostly a death rattle though.
Yeah.
He was basically already, the game was basically already over.
Game 3 though.
Yeah, so we get a game 3 here.
Definitely we saw that disciplined mulliganing there, or not even disciplining, but like competent mulliganing.
Yeah, that was a mulligan to 5.
Yeah,
Reanimator mulligans really, really well.
It just draws so many cards if you get to deploy one of your threats, but at the same time, that's literally all you want to do. So you're sort of counting on it, right? Like you're never super worried about resources, because like if you're not getting that, then like your deck's not doing anything anyway.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. I like that a lot. I like that mindset of just like go until you get it. You can never trust your deck to feed you what you need.
No, you mulligan until you have Tron on turn 3.
Yeah. That is the like the quintessential mulligan deck, right?
Yes.
Is like
mulligan until you have turn 3 Tron.
There are a couple players who I've listened to a couple times who have long and distinguished careers playing Tron and coaching people playing Tron.
Yep.
And the hardest part about playing Tron is mulliganing.
It is, yes.
Like
and
do it.
Mulligan until you have turn 3 Tron is a bit aggressive, but there's like certain combinations of cards that almost undeniably guarantee you to have it, and even if you don't, you will still be able to play a game of Magic. But I'm really into the philosophy of mulligan until you have Tron. So here we see a Green Sun Zenith for 1 on turn 1, or sorry, for 0, finding a Dryad Arbor on turn 1.
Pretty good play there. Sort of establishing a body on board, so the next turn if he has a Guy's Cradle, it's going to do some extra work. GSE is a pretty cool game plan for against the mill deck, where if you can get it to be like a few cards in hand, you just shuffle it back in with GX, like just not fail to find.
Just keep a card in your deck.
Yeah.
I kind of like Emrakul against Mill. You just
that too.
Shuffle it back in. Works a lot better than Green Sun Zenith as a sorcery.
It's a good card. And also like sometimes Elf can get to 15 mana.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
If you Cradle, play second Cradle, sack first Cradle, you're making 7-8 mana off of each Cradle.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
LFG. This is an ignoble hierarch here.
Yeah, that Dryad Arbor should be up with the creatures.
Here's a Thoughtseize.
Just a quick note about tournament rules.
Endurance.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Graveyard.
Tournament rules are very specific about what
Dryad Arbor is a creature. It goes with the creatures.
Yeah.
Thoughtseize is going to take Green Sun Zenith.
Oh yeah. One of the few ways for Green Sun Zenith to hit the bin.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is a Lair of the Hydra.
Oh, right. Good card. You told me the other day that somebody made like a 7/7 on turn 3 or something.
This is actually a really interesting It kind of has a lot of parity with that line. That was a Canadian Highlander deck, but this has been very similar. Here's a Fiend Artisan. The layer of the Hydra, a really spicy include here.
How big is this going to be?
Let's see. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Cradle makes 4, 5, 6. It would be 5, 5.
Yeah, and he snuffed it out, as it were.
Oh, the layer died.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate spending the snuff out there. It sort of reduces the overall resources as far as like attack power that Cradle has. And it's one of the ways that you have to deal with it, because you can only kill it at instant speed because he's not activating it on your turn.
Right.
There's the moon, though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this hand not doing much here. Now, Chris only has access to mountains. Dryad Arbor is still a creature here.
Yeah. Iggy can produce everything, though. It can make green.
Right.
So he can...
And black. He has a forest. Yeah. He can activate this Fiend Artisan.
Yeah, that's sort of
he can activate the Fiend Artisan, sack Dryad Arbor.
Yep. Get a grist. Kill the moon. Can you tell I've played Fiend Artisan before? Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'd get rid of that thing post haste. Because even if he's using a reanimate spell in it the next turn, it doesn't matter. Like he's spent so many resources to put a 2/2 in play.
Yeah, and you still have your reanimating a Magus of the Moon, not super spicy either.
No, I would say it's the opposite of that. Especially, like, he has a forest in play. It's only reducing his mana by just a hair, right? Like, all it's reducing is the overall mana that Cradle can produce. So does he sack Iggy here? No, he definitely sacks the Dryad Arbor. Okay, so... Oh, he's playing a fetch land. That way you just tap the fetch land for mana.
Because it is a mountain.
Because it is a mountain. Taps for red. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Sack Dryad Arbor.
So X equals 3.
Yeah, he's getting grist.
Nice.
That's what I would do.
Gotta love it. There it is.
Yeah. Now he gets to sack.
Then he'll sacrificing the Iggy kind of feels bad, but it's fine. I don't even know if
he does. Like, I don't think he has to.
You just make a bug.
Yeah, just make a bug.
And then send with a 4/5.
Yep, that's what he's doing. He's ticking it up. He's making the bug, and he's sending with a 4/5. I love this play.
Oh, he milled Bajuka Bug. Bummer.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, we're scooping him up.
I don't think Chris had a way to get back there. Grist representing basically a way to deal with every threat that he gets on the board from then on out, right?
Yeah.
Like he may be able to refill on resources.
I don't know if I scoop there.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
There's still a lot of magic left to be played. He had multiple reanimate deads in his hand. He could have animated Atraxas several times.
Yeah.
Found an Arcan line, made Tim sack his board. I mean, there was a lot of magic to be played there, I think.
I didn't know how low his life total is. I know that
Chris was at 13.
Oh, he still had lots of life. Yeah.
Yep. So he fetched 3 times and the snuff out. He was at 13.
Well, if he feels like it's over, it's his call to make. A player can concede at any time.
Yeah.
That's in the rules.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, man. Good matches, at least, right? I think we definitely got to see Tim sort of flex there.
Yeah, that deck was very sweet.
His... you can always tell when a player knows their deck really well.
Yeah.
And Tim being able to just kind of read those lines, especially with Fiend Artisan and Green Zenith knowing exactly what he was going for turn 1. I loved it.
I will reiterate. Tim is a Golgari savant.
Well done. All right.
Awesome.
How are we feeling?
That wraps up this Legacy stream. We still have a lot of these matches to go over, which we are going to do in the coming weeks. So if you were at the old Cranky Man Team Trios over the weekend and you played Legacy in the feature match area, expect to be able to catch your game on here in the coming weeks, okay?
Yeah, you're going to hear my bad takes.
I do love watching Legacy.
Oh yeah, these were some rad matches. It's so cool to see like the big explosiveness out of these decks, and the reward for the players knowing their deck and mulliganing appropriately, really going for efficiency and power. Enjoyed it very much.
Awesome. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. We appreciate each and every one of you being here. Go over to the Old Cranky Man Collectibles YouTube channel for much, much more content. And make sure you follow us here so that you get notified every time we stream. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Later.